Welcome back to another episode of Rec Talk. So today we have Angela Hill. Angela, you're like recruitment founding mother? Founding father, yeah, you got founding fathers, I'm going founding mother, yeah.
Heading in that direction, yeah.
But you've been in recruitment
leading name in Rec to Rec. That's where I'll go with.
Well, I didn't want to pigeonhole just into Rec to Rec because you've done quite a bit.
Leading hole.
That's way worse than what I said. I'm done. Yeah. So start this podcast as we need to go on then.
Absolutely, I love it.
Well, look, welcome on. Thanks for coming in.
No, thank you. I mean, when I started 23 years ago, I literally answered a tiny little advertisement in the Evening Mail.
Hang on, let's just pause there.
What's an advertisement?
Advertisement.
Little paper, tiny little square in the Evening Mail, and
you mean advertisement?
Advertisement. Okay. What did I say?
Advertisement.
Advertisement. Advertisement. Yeah. So, and that was like my launch into recruitment. I thought I was going to do it for 6 months, save the money to pay for my masters, and then I was off. I was going to go and.
Okay, so you actively applied for a recruitment job?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. I didn't fall into it. I knew what I was signing up for, kind of, as much as any of us did. Yeah. I'd heard of them.
Did you do your masters?
I didn't. Never got the masters in journalism.
See, that's what recruitment does.
Spent the money on
Takes
a golf
you away
GTI.
from your dreams.
What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's probably a better investment than masters. I
wish I still had it. I do. Mark II. It'd be worth
You could whack it on your LinkedIn. No one's going to check. Who the fuck is going to ever go to Yeah? Well, show me your masters then.
Get it out.
Yeah.
We've had a few people.
I'm going to put Forbes 30 under 30 in my profile and see if anyone calls me.
Bro, nobody's going to believe you're under 30.
Yeah, that's the stretch.
Nobody's believing you're under 30.
Maybe I'll go 40 under 40 then, yeah.
But yeah, we've had a few people and they've got like law degrees or like history degrees and English degrees and we've never checked. Yeah.
But you ask them law questions. That's what I would do. I'd be like, so in
but
Article
we need to know
36,
the answer though, don't you? Because you got to verify
you
the
just
answer.
see how confidently they come back with the answer.
Yeah, no, we hire like good salespeople, so that they'll be able to convince us. Yeah. Well, they should be able to.
They should be able to. Yeah, if they stumble, law degree or no law degree.
Yeah, maybe that's the barometer.
Yeah,
Let's see if they can outlie us.
Yeah. You're blagging a blagger.
Yeah. See who book us first. So look, in the 23 years of recruitment then, I mean, you must have seen kind of the hard times of during the 2008 recession where I remember people telling stories about literally scrambling for 5-10% fees and stuff versus more recently when it's been making hay while the sun shines, right?
Well, you would think so, and some businesses have, but some businesses have just been completely oblivious and carried on as normal and working at 18-20% without realising that actually this was a great opportunity to raise your game, lift your fees, set the precedent, and they have missed out on that opportunity, definitely. I didn't. I did raise my fees.
Cost of living.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember your barber?
my barber during the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah.
It was a Turkish barber, and is when I used to have my haircut. And he used to charge me £7.
Right.
And I went, and he went, "Oh, it's £8, bro." And I was like, £8? You've gone up by £1. And he was like, "Brexit, bro." Like everyone was, all the prices were being raised because of Brexit. That was like the thing, and he was just like, "Yeah, fuck it, I want to put my prices."
Why not?
Like how? What part of your business is impacted by Brexit?
What are you importing?
That you've had to put your price up by £1. But all right, fine, whatever.
So was that the catalyst for the long hair then?
Yeah, after that, I was like, I'm absolutely not paying £8 for my hair, like to be cut. I'm just going to grow it out.
It's going to be waist length now.
No, yeah.
Well, it was, to be fair, up until a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've trimmed it back. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I cut it myself as well.
Yeah. Very good.
I did, yeah, genuinely.
How about you?
I do my own hair.
You've got his hair, basically.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, every week I shave mine and then say, "Here you go."
There you go. Add it on the end.
Yeah, leave it on that though. A couple of years. Was it a couple of years ago? Probably been a bit more than that now. I had a perm a few years back. Yeah.
Perm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's like a knife through a contract recruiter's heart, hearing the word perm. You're like, no, there's no perm work here. No, definitely not.
Yeah, no, all one temp. Every candidate wants
I never understood that, right? Me and Nitin, so we were temp and perm operators.
Yeah.
And our entire working model was, like, let's win the client. Let's just box every agency out of the jobs.
Yeah.
I'll put the temp in, you fill it as a perm, and we just keep doing that. And we were really successful doing that. But there are loads of recruiters out there like, oh, I don't know, let me hide this from my perm oppo, or let me hide this from my temp oppo.
Yeah, it's harder to do now. I mean, back in the day, there used to be the CV drawer in people's desk, didn't
top
there?
drawer,
Where, you know,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
stayed late on a Thursday and you opened that drawer, you'd find the best pre-programmers in the country secured. But now I think that's harder to do with the CRM systems, and that's why the CRM systems are so important to businesses.
But then it's the case of getting them to use the system, isn't it? Because then the other side of it is they keep them in their inbox. And
should be a
because again, we used to see this all the time.
Yeah.
Here's one for you then. So as a rec to rec in your expertise, what's in more like high demand right now, perm or temp recruiters?
Temps, 100%.
What do you think that is?
You can never get a contract recruiter to move. They've got golden handcuffs on. You know, something catastrophic has got to happen in their world. And it was exactly the same with me. When I started at S3, I was a contract recruiter, built it up to $7,000 a week, and then I walked away from it because I was young and dumb and I had no blooming clue as to what I'd actually just done. And you know, you've literally just handed $200,000 worth of billings into the aparapot sort of thing.
The
with
next poor soul that walks in.
Well, they didn't used to allocate it to another recruiter. It would just
yeah,
drop
yeah, you're
literally into their bank balance.
Yeah,
It's just pure revenue that they've not got to pay out a penny on now. So the abyss, that's the word I'm looking for, the recruitment abyss, and it's where when they get the interns in and the interns make a placement into the internal abyss with those fees. Contract recruiters are always in demand, and now more than ever, they're so hard to move.
Given the fact that they're usually on they've got a retained commission structure, haven't they? And that they know what they're going to be earning. Yeah. How many clients or how many business owners are kind of considering that in a package then? So if I'm going, right, you know, you've got £150 an hour billings, you're earning this much in commission. I'll tell you what, for the first 3 months, I'll bring you in at the base salary that you want, but I'll guarantee you earnings of this much until you get your billings up to that. Is that happening or not?
Not enough. It really isn't. And I think
seems like an obvious thing to do though, right?
People need to think outside the box. This is the reality of it. You know, in terms of the top billers, the best people, the A team, you've got to think outside of the box. How can we attract these people into the business because they're not coming knocking
Aren't the majority
at
of
the door?
those going and setting up though?
Yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't you? Absolutely. And that's the other piece of competition that wasn't in Rec to Rec. Even 5 years ago, it wasn't as prevalent there. Whereas people, I think, over the last few years have thought, you know what, I can earn 80, 100 grand a year just doing one deal a month and enjoying life, to be honest.
And working at your own pace as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working at your own pace with no restrictions to what you...
No pressure.
I mean, there are some restrictions given kind of if you have an investor or all that sort of stuff. But yeah, for the most part...
But by and large, your biggest challenge is yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
But you know,
it's your own work ethic. But
that's the
how
difference
many
for a lot of
times have
people.
we heard that? Because we used to get it all the time. When we set up, there was a handful of people in our kind of peer group that also set up.
Yeah.
The majority of which aren't open anymore.
Okay.
And every single one of them said the same thing. It's so lonely. I can't motivate myself. It's just me.
Well, the amount of
you
times
guys are lucky you've got each other and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
That was always the common theme, wasn't it? Well,
everybody always, they still to this very day will say to us, yeah, but I mean, there's two of you, so there's double the revenue. It's like,
it's also double the
so
cost.
it's double the cost.
Yeah, that's the thing. It
And
swings
double the
and
ego.
roundabouts.
It's double the ego, double the disagreements and all that sort of stuff, right? There are certain things that Nitin and I have really kind of gone toe to toe with when it comes to like, no, I think we should do it this way. No, I think... Even to this day, we still do it, right? And but that's what makes our relationship so great, is that we're at opposite ends of the spectrum. And we have to almost kind of align ourselves to each other to be able to say, right, okay, this is the move that we're going to go with. Which has worked for us, fortunately. But
so far, so good.
Still here.
But the reality is, when you're by yourself, you don't have those disagreements. You don't have, like, if you want to go in a direction, you can go in it. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, but the problem is then you potentially end up going down the wrong direction, don't you?
Yeah. Absolutely. But then that comes down back to accountability, doesn't it? And, you know, you get a lot of talk of autonomy in recruitment as well, and where recruiters want business owners to back them financially, but then we want the autonomy to do whatever the hell they like within
We're ever
the
saying in
business.
that, it's sort of like, there's so many people that love spending other people's money.
Yes. Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
And that's where, for me, I think a lot of startup recruitment agencies fail, is because they're like, I'm going to spend your money.
Yeah.
But let me tell you how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do all of this. And I'm going to have this office. And I'm going to have this. And I'm going to have that. And it's sort of like, all right, if it was just you and strip away that cash injection, what would you have? You'd have a shitty old laptop and a mobile phone that is basically your own personal phone.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? So why don't you start there and see what you can get to before you then start spending this person's money or that person's money, and then sitting and scratching your head at the end of it and being like, I don't know where it went wrong.
We spoke to investors, we spoke to like incubator companies, we spoke to a whole bunch of people, and in the end, I had this dog shit 7-year-old laptop. Remember the big blue fucking tank that I had, and he bought some really shitty like Barbie doll looking like Acer notebook type thing in like really like weird white glittery white or something.
Cutesy little white laptop that I got for like 150
yeah,
quid.
the screen's about that big. And just like that. And that was it. That was us, wasn't it? And we're just like on our phones and off we go. And we were working out of the Holiday Inn, or we were working out of my dining room first, then we went to the Holiday Inn because we realised that we kept watching Netflix.
You make it work, don't you? And then, our motivations were the money element of it, right? Yeah. Because we did speak to Recs, and it was odd because we were both sort of like, wherever we move, we're moving together. So we actually interviewed together in a lot of places as well, right?
Yeah.
Which is really bizarre because for most people it was sort of like, this is so fucking weird. I wanted to hire one person. I've got 2 people here, and they're both in the same fucking meeting room with me. Like, it's just,
I had that realization once when I interviewed for a finance recruiter, and we were going through the whole process. He was like, "Yeah, you keep talking about unit. Like, are you a package deal?" At the time, we hadn't really confirmed that, and I was like, "No." There's like, no, actually, you know what we are? Yeah. Because actually the impact that we've had on the market and the clients that we've got and all that sort of stuff, we built that together, and that's the formula for success.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to replicate.
Yeah, buy into that and you'll do well. Yeah. Yeah, and we spoke to a few Recs, and it was the realization at the time that either we're asking for way too much money and are overvaluing ourselves. Like, we're asking for either way too much money or we think way too much of ourselves. And if we think way too much of ourselves, then we can't expect somebody else to pay us what we want. Let's just go and do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that will show us, right? Because it's either going to be an extremely humbling experience, and we'll go back cap in hand, like, Angela, please, I'll take that 25k that you found me, or we'll be like, that was a good move.
Yeah, it was the right move.
How many people do you speak to that you kind of look at sometimes and just think, just do this for yourself?
Lots. Yeah, lots. Absolutely. And some of them come back to us on the other end of that extreme where they've tried it themselves and then I've got an uphill battle. That's the danger. It's like if you jump, you really need to jump and make it work, and don't dance in and out of it, so to speak, because it's a hard sell to convince somebody. Yes, they really want to give you 70% of their billings and they are billing 200 grand a year, but no, what they'd like to do is give 130k of that to you because they're lonely. And that actually might genuinely be a reason that, they need the support, they need the systems in place, they need the operational backup, all of those little things.
You've got, there's business owners then that would be like, no, this person set up on their own and failed, so therefore I'm not hiring this person. You genuinely get that as a
had that as an objection. Really? Yeah, absolutely.
But I get that though, because if you can't make it work for yourself, then how are you going to make it work for?
Why are you going to do anything different here?
Yeah.
For a whole host of reasons, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, so not every good player makes a great coach.
Yes,
right? In exactly the same way, not every great biller can run a business themselves. Not every great salesperson is a good business person.
No, but not every good salesperson will be a good salesperson in another company either.
That's also true.
You look at, again, you go back to the football analogy, you can have a player who's phenomenal at one club. Let's take Fernando Torres, phenomenal at Liverpool, went to Chelsea, was dog shit.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
But do you know what I mean? So
it's true, it's all about environment.
Yeah, well, this is it.
That's the key, and that is the hardest part from my perspective is getting under the skin of the business, finding out what the actual truth is. I almost consider myself a business analysis when I take the spec.
Yeah.
I want to know all the warts and alls. What are the problems? What are the concerns? What are the bad things about coming to work here? And then we can work with that, and we can work backwards, and we can just tell the truth to the candidates, and then there's no nasty surprises, and then it works. Then
so what are people doing now that's different then? Do the beanbags work? Do the pool tables work? The free fruit?
It's like anything, isn't it? That new car analogy.
Yeah.
When you've saved up for the beautiful new car and you've walked into the showroom, you bought it, it's got the lovely new smell. Day one, it's amazing and you love all of these shiny things. Day two, it's just the car.
Yeah,
that's it, isn't it? I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
It's the car.
When you make that first dink, that's it. You stop caring after that.
Absolutely, literally, and that's the best way I can describe it. Is yes, all of those things are lovely. People are impressed by them. Of course they are, because if you've got the disposable income, for want of a better description, to be able to set up the pool table, the PlayStation, give them free fruit, all of that sort of thing, it's lovely. It's really, really nice. But when the grind sets in, what actually is going to make the difference is the supportive staff, the supportive manager. You can discipline people, you can get them to meet KPIs in a number of ways. You can use the carrot or you can use the stick. The carrot isn't in the free fruit bowl. Nobody's staying for the free fruit.
Carrots and vegetables.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's a fair point actually. Can we rewind that bit?
Let's go with tomatoes or cucumbers.
Yeah, I was just, I nearly said cucumber, and then I thought, no, that could be misinterpreted. Not going to talk about cucumbers on this session.
If I say, so from a hiring manager point of view, though, if I'm looking at somebody who's driven by
Exactly.
flexibilities, perks, free fruit, yeah, free fruit.
I fucking love free fruit, mate.
the pool tables, all of the fancy shit that you have in the office.
Yeah.
That to me is a bit of a red flag anyway, because
Exactly.
I mean,
You're driven by the wrong things.
yeah,
It's the wrong drivers. Yeah.
our most recent hire, we asked them outright. We were like, look, why you've been doing this for as long as we have? Just set up on your own. Like, what's the issue? And he was like, eventually I will. But he goes, right now, I'm just my place personally just isn't where it needs to be for me to be able to commit to doing that.
Yeah.
And we said at the time, I was
You
like, look,
understand that.
my wife at the time, but I think, was Penny born? No, she wasn't. She was pregnant with Penny, wasn't she?
She was pregnant with Penny, and my first
you
one
just
was
had
she was just coming up to a year old.
Yeah, so and it was like, look, we're not, when we settled, we weren't in the place, but you'll never find the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
That's
right?
the issue.
We got pushed because at the time when we needed to set up, we were on the verge of like the business that we went into. They had some issues. There was some invoicing issues and all that sort of stuff, and because of that, we looked at.
The decision was we either back ourselves or expect someone else to back us when we should do this ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the overarching thing there is then what are candidates looking for then?
100%
So if it's not
flexibility at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It is that flexibility.
What does flexibility look like?
Well, you see, that's the thing. It means different things to different people. And that's what we've got to understand as a recruiter myself. At the end of the day, I'm doing recruitment to recruitment, but it's still recruitment. You still got the same sort of...
your vertical's just different compared to somebody who's doing accounting, finance or digital or whatever.
Literally.
You got the arse end of it because you're dealing with recruiters on both sides.
God bless them.
Well, I think before we look at kind of candidate flexibilities, I think that it's also important to note as well, though, like the attrition rate in recruitment at the moment is horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, people are literally in businesses for weeks before they move on.
Yeah.
And that's not. I don't think it's just down to the businesses. I think that also comes down to the candidates that are coming to market, because when you look at why most people are in recruitment, they fell into it.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people are just doing it because that's all they know, and they're at a point now where they're just fed up with it, aren't they?
I think a big part of it has been hiring decisions over the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, literally, if you had a pulse in the last 2 to 3 years, you could be placed.
You're in the door.
Yeah, literally. They would give anybody a go because they had nothing to lose at the end of the day. It was quite difficult not to make placements.
It was that rebuild mentality as well, wasn't it? We've come out of the pandemic, work is coming through thick and fast.
Exactly.
As long as they can send an email and not sound like a special person.
Well, even that was templated, so, what could go wrong?
Yeah, with all the automation through CRMs and stuff, it's literally just, can you make this do this? Click these buttons and the rest of it will be done for you, sort of thing.
Exactly.
So,
this is the thing. Yeah.
Okay, but so you say flexibilities then? Because flexibilities for me would be, I drop my kids off to school every morning without fail. So I come into the office at 9:20.
Yeah.
That would be enough for me.
Yeah,
if I was on the if I was on the market looking for a job, that would be what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you've got others that I want to be fully based from home, remote, because I've got a work from home setup, or because X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
How's that going down in the current marketplace at the minute?
Not great, if in all honesty, and I think that's because managers are under pressure. You've got the top layer, you've got the business owners who are pressing it downhill to the middle managers, and they don't know how to manage any other way than the way they were managed, which was more than 3 years ago. So they don't know how to manage people who want to work 100% remotely, because where's the training for this? None of us expected any of this to happen. We were all thrust into it, and we're all learning as we're going along. So you've got some people that have adapted to that better than others, and that's at a managerial level before we even get to the consultants. Some people are naturally incredibly self-disciplined. I've got one daughter that taught herself Latin in the summer holidays because she was bored. That kid will work from home just fine. She's great. The other one's a bit away with the fairies sometimes, and if she didn't have classes at certain times, she wouldn't be as far down her degree as she is now. So she has has to go in. Plus, it also depends on the subject matter. And I think that's a huge part in recruitment as well. It depends on what your team is doing. And if you're all working together, you've got a permie counterpart and you've got a contract counterpart. You guys are working as a tag team together. You need to be together. You want to be together, don't you? Because you're friends, you're driving each other. There was probably a bit of healthy competition between you two.
Do you know the other thing as well, though, that makes me almost question the kind of, because my wife works from home and she can do it. She's very disciplined and she can get that done. I can't do it because I just get too distracted. But that's not me kind of that's not me amplifying my kind of ill discipline on other people. I need to be in an office to be able to work well. I used to have to wear a suit to work well because if I
put the costume on.
Yeah, well, that's true. I used to have to put on my suit because then I felt like I was working. If I was working in jeans and a hoodie, then I was like, I'm not at work. But if you're in a situation where you're working from home, we came out of a 2-year pandemic where we were locked down for 2 years, and everybody was like, we need kind of contact with people. We need to be working with people. We miss the collaboration piece. We miss just being able to shake somebody's hand or give someone a hug. And we've almost gone from craving that to like, no. I want to be at home. I want to be at home and nothing but at home.
Yeah,
it's become like an entitlement as well, right?
I don't think a lot of people know why they want to work from home either.
Because
depends where you're at in life.
It's the thing. For me, I don't think the conversation of like remote working is currently too overarching. There are certain divisions and certain departments within a business that absolutely can work from home.
Well, IT
or can work remotely.
Exactly.
Exactly. An IT division, a finance division. You know, customer service should not be remote, in my opinion, because if you think about the last couple of years versus 5 years ago, whether it's your insurance company, whether it's the NHS, whether it's the police, whether it's your holiday provider, how long are we now on hold for? How displeased are we with the level of customer service that we get when we call up a contact centre and ask for help? How many times do we not get our queries resolved and sorted? And how many times are we told there's a backlog with COVID we're still dealing with when we deal with the local councils and stuff like that?
The council,
because it's become this thing of like, there's no accountability when some of these businesses are not equipped to work from home, but have almost had to do it because they need to hire the staff and that's what the staff are asking for. Then productivity slipped, then customer service has slipped, and now we're kind of just in this like weird, either do we accept this mediocrity or do we go, no, we need to go back to the way it used to be.
Or there's a third option that we can train people to work better from home. That is an option.
No, it is absolutely.
Learn how to manage teams.
I think
from home.
I've never considered that as a no. I've never looked at it from that point of view before. Of like, we're asking people to do something they've never done before and expect them to be good at it.
Why are they asking for it then?
But this is it, isn't it? I think it's an entitlement piece. Because I think a small minority have ruined it for the majority. Because there are people that have taken the piss. There are people that have. Like Amazon hacks. Oh, this thing will move your mouse so you can have a shower or have a nap, or this thing will click around. Like the woman in Australia that got sacked from the insurance company because of like not doing. She did something like a fraction of work over the space of 6 months that they monitored her, and she even tried to argue that with them. Even like as controversial as it sounds like, but like the Nicola Bully thing, right? In the you were on a Teams call, you were on a Teams meeting, and you were taking your dog for a walk. The tragedy happened, and that's really shit. But the reality is that you were supposed to be working, but you were walking your dog. Are we not going to have that conversation? You know what I mean?
See, I think in recruitment, the thing that I've always loved about recruitment is you live by the sword and you die by it. You're only as good as last month's figures. So the reality of it is, if you're that kind of person, you've got that kind of lazy mentality that you're going to go and
you're just not going to cut it.
You're just going to get cold really quickly. So we will catch those people out very fast.
But the
as
problem
business owners.
is that I would say and hopefully you agree with me that the large portion of the talent pool that's available to the market is exactly that.
Maybe.
Whereas
how many top billers that are absolutely smashing it pick up the phone to you and go, Angela, I'm at the top of my game, I'm making a ton of money, let's go out to market and see what I can get.
See what I'm worth.
They should
My
do
stock
it.
value is the
They
highest.
should
that we've
do.
got.
Or they should do it.
Or
yeah.
how many get in touch with you and go, Angela, I've had a fucking horrible week. I've been given my final warning.
Yeah.
I got told unless I put three placements on the board this week, I'm out the door. I haven't even done one, and it's Thursday. Help.
Yeah, literally. And do you know what? The sad thing is, if they'd have phoned me on the Monday, I probably could have coached them through to get those placements.
Yeah.
And that is what's frustrating, is you're absolutely right. People should call. I mean, I'm sure Ronaldo put the flag up and said, like, actually, you know, I'm getting to 32, 33, whatever. You need to get me the best deal possible before I retire, because I've only got 4 years to go here. And those are the candidates that we'd love. You know, those are the dream in Rec to Rec. They are. But you are right, an awful lot. I'd probably say 80% of the calls I get, I can't help you.
Disgruntled.
And
people,
actually, I'd be a hindrance because I'm going to command 20 to 25% of your salary on top of what you're asking for.
Yeah, I've got to buy into you and back you.
Exactly.
Then I've got to
Yeah.
convince
Exactly.
your future employer to buy into me and you.
Yeah.
And then it's all in your hands, and you've got 12 weeks to not cock it up. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether you're not going to cock it up.
100%.
That's a lot of work to put in on an
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
but, and maybe. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the issue is that there's definitely a skill shortage, I think, in the current recruitment market.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how many recruitment trainers are now starting to surface. You've got, I mean, we've spoke to maybe 2 or 3 of them, if not maybe more, and we've had a handful of them on the podcast, and there's just loads and loads of these guys coming out. But actually, I think they touch a really good point, which is training is a big thing.
It is,
It's a
yeah.
massive thing, and people.
Businesses aren't investing enough.
And that's
Because
the
we
problem.
used to be able to just like he's crap, get rid of him.
Yeah. Next.
Call the rec to rec. Yeah,
Yeah.
get me another one.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's sort of like, okay, that talent pool's running out, and what's left is unfortunately the ones that probably fell into it, have fallen out of love with it, and are just sort of like in this situation where they're like, do I want to go and start a career somewhere else, or do I want to just like see if a rec to rec can get me a £5,000 pay rise and just try again in the hope that maybe it works out, you know? And maybe the focus, you're right, needs to be more of a balance. I think you touched on a really interesting point though, which is that top talent recruiters should be using rec to recs as agents.
Like
very
a
much
football
like the
agent.
footballers do.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's what you should be doing. You
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
going to them while you're at the top of your game, saying, all right, then
Absolutely.
let's see what you've got.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the time to move, not the week before you're about to get fired.
No, yeah.
But we need, I think, a recollaboration within recruitment. This is the big thing now. I think, you know, everybody needs to kind of look at their teams and pick their winners, and who are we going to invest in? Who do we want to keep in this industry? And there'll be some people that there'll just be a natural attrition, and it has been a bit of an admin job for the last few years. There's no getting away from that. It's not actually that hard to become a great BD person from a great delivery person, because you've been selling to the candidates for the last 3 years. All you need to do is flip that and start selling to your clients as well, instead of as well.
business owners will often restrict consultants from that part of the job.
Right.
Because we've seen it 100 times before, haven't we?
Okay.
Where they're like, oh, well, no, I never got to do any of the BD or the relationship management stuff.
there's
The
some-
director
yeah,
did
there's-
that.
there's-
I just did the
yeah.
delivery bit.
Yeah,
I was
wow.
resourcing.
We've seen a lot of that.
And if you put clients on a
maybe
pedestal up
that's-
here, then you're
Yeah.
always going to get consultants who are scared to make that phone call.
Terrified, yeah.
That's why when we get new consultants, if they're brand new, totally green, get on the phone. First thing you need to do is like, this is your market. Here's a list of questions. Just go. Just call.
Just
Ask.
talk to them.
Yeah, what's the worst
You're
that's going to
not.
happen?
You're not going to put us out of business by making one shit phone call.
Exactly.
So just
right.
call them. Just rip the band-aid off. Start speaking to people, and you'll soon realise how easy it is.
Yeah.
Same thing with clients. Just call them.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of the clients are lovely. This is the thing. There's nothing to be scared of. They're just people.
They're just people
They're just
on the other end of the
people.
phone.
Exactly.
And they know what you want.
Exactly. They know why you're
we
calling.
say this to the guys upstairs all the time, right?
Yeah.
You're a recruiter. You've made it clear to them that you're a recruiter. Guess what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, exactly.
Buttered sausage, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to talk about something other than recruitment, are you? Like, that's
100%.
your purpose of the call. And
Yeah.
if they continue to engage with that phone call, then you're halfway there.
Exactly.
How are you finding the trend with internal recruiters moving into agency? Because we've seen a massive increase in internal recruiters applying for roles with us.
Really?
And we've met some. We hired one.
hired
one.
She
Yeah.
wasn't great. She crashed into my Porsche for starters. I mean, that was already a fucking you what? Like, yeah.
That's
but
rude.
like, other than that, no. She just
Not just crashed into it, but didn't even say anything
no,
until
she drove off as well. Yeah,
until we looked at it when we came downstairs. Like, have you got a scratch on your Porsche? He's like, what?
Yeah. joint.
See, that's AKA to murdering one of my kids. I mean,
Listen, it's a 20-year-old Porsche. It's got a few dinks and scratches, but not the ones that I put on. Not
yeah,
someone else,
those
right?
are different. Those are different.
But no, I've interviewed. Like, I've probably had conversations about 4, maybe 5 now, and they've all been really good, talented, interesting people.
Yes.
But for one reason or another, we haven't progressed with them, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, for me personally, I found the trend that was there was a salary indifference in terms of what they want and that kind of thing. But
they didn't really get the bonus or commission stuff.
No,
on
that's
that side,
right. That's
which
right.
is their very heavy base versus commission.
This is the thing. It's apples and pears. You can't compare the two. And this is where I suppose it is going to get tricky because it swings and roundabouts. You know, the market is in a constant state of twisting and turning, and I've seen it from 2000 upwards to today. It goes in peaks and troughs. Sometimes internal is in favour and sometimes agency is in favour. Currently, it's agency's turn. You know, you had your bite of the cherry. I hope you all saved lots of money and you spent it all wisely and you didn't raise your lifestyle to meet these large basic salaries. And yeah, it's our go now, basically. The pendulum has swung.
I think what a lot of people forget or try and avoid is that recruitment's a sales gig.
Exactly. Yes.
And if you're not ready to be a salesperson, then agency life isn't for you.
Exactly.
And a lot of recruiters, a lot of internal recruiters forget that as well.
We had this with one of the internal recruitment people that we met, and she was very, very focused on her, her business partnering skills and her like kind of resource management and planning for future hires and that kind of thing. And I was sort of like, I was like, that's all great, but let me like really as bluntly as I can, you're not going to be doing that.
No.
Like no hiring manager, like we've got relationships with finance directors and CFOs that go back 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
They ain't telling us what their future hiring plans are. Like no one's telling you that. It doesn't happen. What they want is, I have a vacancy, I need you to fill it. I may have another vacancy 6 months down the line. I may, but I don't know yet. But just fill this one. Like that's what they want from you.
Exactly.
And that was a bit of a wake up call for her because I think she was very much expecting agencies to be. But I think she bought into the. Do you know when agencies go and meet internals and they talk about how the consultant part of my job is to do this and I consult and I think that's she kind of glorified that in her head and I was sort of like, listen, look, it is a sales job.
Yeah,
like you will hear no more times than you want to. And then you can probably cope with, and then you got to carry on. Like,
yeah. Do you know what I think make really good consultants? And this is probably just me like reflecting on kind of my experiences, but is people that have gone through that grind of like customer service, retail, hospitality, those really kind of laborious jobs, that
tough jobs.
The dead end, the shitty hours, the working the weekends, the bank holidays, the Christmases, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
People that come from there and have transitioned
because we appreciate the smaller things.
You
moved into recruitment, right? This is a true story. He moved into recruitment because I rang him on a Friday evening and I went, do you want to come out for a beer? And he went, I can't. I'm putting the cars away because he was in car sales at the time for BMW on a very nice basic with a very nice company car. I've got to put all the cars away, which will take me about an hour, and I'm back here again at 7 a.m. And I've gone, that's shit.
Stuff that.
Guess what? I'm in a sales job that's paying well, that has a company car like on a carrot at the end of my billing like target, and I don't have to work weekends. I start at 8:30, I'm gone by 6.
Gospel truth. The first thing I said is,
he was like, fuck off.
there are sales jobs that don't require weekend work.
You see, I disagree. I worked weekends when I first got into recruitment.
No, but you're not contracted.
It was a choice, though. Yeah, that was a decision.
My contracted hours were Monday to Sunday. And within that, there was a rota, so I would have like a Wednesday off. And then I would have to work every other Sunday.
But you know what? I think in some ways, if you were to get really creative with recruitment could do that. Because when are my candidates available? Saturday morning's a great time to catch them. It really is.
That's true.
Yeah,
but
we can look outside the square.
I agree. And I have done some stuff. Remember that time when I was trying to find that management accountant or whatever it was, and like I couldn't find it. We got the job on like Thursday evening or something. I didn't find anyone by Friday, and then I was like, and he was like, "You're going to work this weekend, aren't you?" And I was like, "I can't do it. I can't not fill it because like it will eat away at me that I didn't do it." And I worked over the weekend and I managed to find someone, but you can do it, but the receptiveness of some candidates at the weekend is like, look, can you call me on Monday? I don't want to talk about work stuff over the weekend.
Yeah, because again, recruitment, career stuff, that's still a job, that's still work for them as well, right? So
depends on how motivated they are, doesn't it? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's
It
true.
all comes
Yeah.
down to who you catch, and a lot
if
of
they've been given that final warning and they need to get those 3 temps
it's all
out.
timing.
I think, how often do you find then when you're talking to recruiters who are maybe like a year or two or quite junior in their journey, how often do you find that they want to get away from the BD stuff? I just don't like BD.
We used to hear that all the time.
Yeah, again, I mean, that just comes down to how well they've been trained. If from day one they've had a brilliant onboarding, that's been really slick, and that's what candidates want. You know, when we talk about the free fruit and all that nonsense, what they actually want is to arrive day one and their laptop's set up and their email works and the password's correct.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good impression, and you never get a second chance to make that first good impression. We know what we're doing as a business, and that's critical.
That is important, yeah.
So important.
And I know we look at the cringy kind of like, oh,
Welcome
my God,
to the
look at-
madhouse.
But actually it is.
brilliant.
It is really important because like there's nothing more frustrating. Well, we do it when we have our candidates. Oh, well, I turned up on the first day. They were still trying to sort IT out.
Yeah, absolutely. That
That's
should
a
have been
full
done
on
Friday.
shit, we forgot you were coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, we've got some recruitment businesses that do a brilliant job of that. I used to do international rec to rec, where I was sending people over to Australia, and we had businesses that would meet them at the airport at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday and take them to their hotel, make sure they were looked after. All of that kind of thing is what you are competing with as British recruitment businesses. If you don't look after them, somebody else will. That's the truth of it. So that's what they're looking for, in all honesty. When we go through that sort of the taking it right back to basics, they need training from day one. They need you to sit and listen to their calls and give them feedback and give them advice. And as you touched on earlier with recruitment trainers, if you don't have time to do it, bring an external resourcer in to do it who has got the time to sit with your guys.
The irony is, isn't it? Like recruitment agencies, we're an outsourced resource.
Absolutely.
Yet we seem so reluctant to outsource
our resource.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like ourselves.
But our
as
expertise,
like
right? Look, our expertise is
Absolutely.
recruitment, right?
Yes.
And that like I've done some in-house training with the guys, and even then, like it's training that I'm not an expert in training. I consider myself to be decent at training, but I wouldn't by any stretch say that I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But the point is, though, that's what we should be doing. We should be investing our money in experts. Say, listen, I need you to come in week in, week out, month in, month out, however you do it. But this is the criteria that I want my guys to learn.
Exactly.
But then the offset is, though, that as business owners or managers, we need to be implementing that training on the guys.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
You've
the
got to
important
make
thing.
sure you enforce it. It's like parenting, isn't it? At the end of the day, we all
Follow through,
know we've got the sticker chart. But if mummy goes away for the weekend and comes back and daddy hasn't done the sticker chart, well, what was the point of the sticker chart?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know.
We had that. So, do you know Warren Kemp?
Yeah, I do.
So
yeah.
Warren's wicked. We brought him in to do training for us a few times.
Yeah.
And it was great because for the first lot of people we did like a boot camp for, they were implementing a lot of the training, weren't they? But I don't know what happened, but I think they just ended up falling out of recruitment, but they left. But then when we had our other guys, they were doing training with Warren. I think it was like once a month or once every couple of weeks. And it got to the point where it was like the day before he came, they'd be like, shit, Warren's coming tomorrow. We've got to do the stuff that he told us to do. And it was a scramble, weren't it, to go and do the homework that he'd set them.
And then after the training, they'd be like, we want a board dedicated to Warren's training. And we're like, yeah, cool, give you that.
Okay.
And set the board up, and they've got it all, wrote the title, Warren's training stuff, and then nothing. Just a blank board. And then, sure enough, 2 weeks later, Warren's coming. Oh, crap, Warren's coming in.
Yeah.
Have we asked those questions? Did we do this? Did we that? No. Oh, crap. Okay, you do that one. I'll do this one. And it's just like, you bunch of idiots. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the thing is, they didn't understand why he asked.
They weren't bought into it.
I think there was, but I think part of that was our fault because what we should have done, because we didn't sit in on the training, and I think what we should have done was sit in on the training, so then we could then start implementing the stuff that Warren was teaching.
Exactly.
We used to look forward to Warren coming in because we could go for a wagon.
Oh, you got an hour off.
Well, we could go to wagon runners.
Like
We
a
don't normally get lunch. Yeah.
But I see what you mean. It's almost like giving the kids to the trainer for a couple of hours, give you a bit of relief. Whereas what I do is I do training, and it can be 15 minutes a day. Literally, they will have 15 minutes a day with me where I'll sit there and I'll say, right, What's your plan for the day? And we'll go through the plan together. Now, that is in reality what your billing manager should be doing, but also in Planet Reality, it's what they haven't got time to do.
Yeah.
So I'm almost like a renter resource, for want of a better description, where I'll come in and almost be that billing manager that just sits and holds their hands or listens to a couple of their calls and gives them feedback and gives them some advice as to what they could have done differently. The big thing that I'm finding at the moment is that consultants are struggling with closing, because as we said before, they're doing the admin, they're sending the CV, they're doing all the hard work. And then when it gets to the offer,
rejection bit or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
So is that what you're doing now? Then you're moving into that sort of training consultancy space. Then
it's been a natural, I guess, progression really, because as I say, I meet a lot of these recruiters, I place a lot of them. If I want my deals to stick, which I do, and I've got a phenomenal 100% stick rate at the moment, which I'm very keen to maintain.
Easy to do when you're only making one placement a year.
That's so true. Damn, he's rumbled me.
Sorry.
Do you know what? I'd rather make one good placement a year than 100 rubbish ones. I genuinely would. I couldn't cope with the hokey cokey of in and out and refunding this and not doing that. But yeah, that's just sort of, I guess, organically grown from my customers, where they've said, right, you brought this person in because you said they had this skill set. We've identified this. Can you coach them through it? And we'll pay you an hourly rate. And yeah,
sweet.
Bob's your uncle. Yeah, it's worked out nicely. So yeah, I recommend that basically.
No, which
I recommend hire me.
Yeah, no, but that kind of makes sense though, doesn't it? Because then what you almost naturally doing there is going, I back my decision to put this candidate in front of you to the point where I'm willing to continue keeping in touch. There'll be a lot of rec to recs I would imagine that don't speak to their guys
you never
again.
hear from them again. And I mean, I've had that when I've been placed. I was landed in the middle of Australia. I mean, this is what actually drove me into rec to rec. I got over to Australia, 4 kids and the dog, all packed up, flown over. Husband's given up his job, everything. You know, we've got our world in 4 suitcases. We land. I discover that I am working for a subsidiary of the worst recruitment company in the whole of Australia. It has got the worst reputation, and I'm working for one of the arms of it. I had no idea, because you're blind. You go into these things trusting and so 2 weeks I lasted there. It was horrendous.
So was the plan to move to Australia? Were you driven by the move to Australia, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, because this was 2008 and it had all hit the fan. My ex worked in pharmaceuticals and he worked for an American company, so they just pulled the drawbridge up basically. They were just like, we're going to protect the American jobs. Rightly or wrongly, the British team is just cleared out. So I was getting phone calls. I mean, I actually wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. I just had my 4th baby. I was like, oh, you know, feet up, Pilates. Looking forward to living the dream. But I kept getting these increasingly frantic phone calls from Australia, pretty much going, name your price. You know, you've got oil and gas experience. We need somebody that can just jump in and pick up a hot desk. What do you want? And as I say, I ended up working for those cowboys, which was a bit devastating. But the rec to rec was nowhere to be seen. And, you know, I'm calling going, look, help, you know, I don't blame you for this. This is nobody's fault.
Yeah, but
let's
sort it out, yeah.
Absolutely. And as luck would have it, I was in Perth and another rec to rec picked up the bat signal on LinkedIn and found me a great job with Harrier. So I was really lucky that was salvageable. But I thought, I never want anybody to ever experience that and to go through that again. So that was the catalyst for me to get me into rec to rec, and so far so good. It's been all right.
Cool. Seems to be. I mean, look, you're a recognisable brand, aren't you? Within the rec to rec world, definitely. So is that kind of going to be a continuation of what you do?
Absolutely.
Keep doing rec to rec, but also doing the training bit as well.
Definitely. My aim in life really was to build a brand and build a business that the children can take over. You know, I'm not saying I don't ever want them to go into their fields. They do. They've got their own professional goals and achievements, etc. But I've got 2 that actually would make really good recruiters. You know, when you see that little glint in their eye, and I think, you're cheeky, you are. You'll be good. Plus, he's been listening for the last 5-6 years, and he's like a little sponge. And there's times I get off calls and he's like, Didn't close them on that though, did you? WhatsApp. But it's, an extra pair of ears, silly as it sounds. A 13-year-old can pick up on things that you haven't noticed.
That you've missed,
Absolutely, it's great. And, everybody needs that. And I suppose that also comes back to the working from home piece as well, being part of a team that carries you and drives you. It was the competitive thing for me at the beginning. I wanted to be top of that leaderboard, and I would have been mortified if I'd have slipped. Did slip a few times and then had to crawl my way back up. But it drives and motivates you. And I wonder whether we don't need the support of our buddies as much as anything in recruitment. It's hard to do it on your own, isn't it? It's hard.
It's tough.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Which is kind of where the working from home thing for me is just like, I get it, but I don't think people understand why they want it.
Yeah.
Rather than
I think if you're dead for, no, I need and I want to work from home, it comes back to that point I'll make about, you like spending someone else's money, then back yourself and do it for yourself.
Then you can
work from wherever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you can go and like walk your dog at 9 o'clock and then have a nap at 10.
Nobody minds.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't do it on my dime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is a fair point. All this misinformation about they want you back because are not making much money anymore and the real estate prices in commercial real estate are dropping. No, none of that's true. Just people just want bang for their buck. I pay you a salary. I want to see you working.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happened.
It's the deal, isn't it? It's the contract. Yeah. Literally the contract that we make.
You're not entitled to a wage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
they are entitled to a wage.
No, you're not. No, I didn't finish that sentence. It's weird. I said it and then I finished it in my head because I was just like, this doesn't need to be said. And then you did that. Make sure you clip that bit, baby. You're not entitled to a wage.
Unless it legally states that you are.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we've got offerings out there now where you can literally, I've got one client where they don't pay you a wage. They do everything else. They take 30% of your billings. And as you say, walk the dog, do what you like. The only person whose time you're stealing then is your own, to be blunt. Yeah. So there's options for everybody. There is something out there now for everyone.
How do you invoice a client like that though? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I charge 20% of the base salary. So. I charge 20% of the base salary. Haha, joke's on you. We don't pay a base salary.
No, but I charge them on their previous basic salary. So that's what I invoice
this
them
candidate was on 150k.
Yeah, millions.
Right, well, look, I think that about does it for today's pod. Unless you got anything else you want to add?
No, look, I just want to say thanks for coming down, taking the time out to come and see us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been good to kind of tap into 23 years worth of recruitment knowledge.
Absolutely. Dinosaur.
No, appreciate it. Should we end it there?
Can you cut it before I say dinosaur?
Dinosaur!
That for? How do you find this guy? I spotted him in the background. What do you think of him?
Are we off camera now?
We stopped filming.
You're still fucking lying.